Welcome to the 2024 Vex Robotics World Championship. My name is Grant Cox, and I'm the chairman of the Vex Robotics Game Design Committee. I'm here with Tyler McCrary, the Vex World Championship Master of Ceremonies.
Hi, everyone. Grant and I are here in Dallas, and we can't wait for you to join us in just a few short days. We want to make sure that you are prepared to get the most out of your Vex Worlds experience. First, we'll cover some general information you'll need to know. We're going to talk about team check-in, robot inspection, the robot skills challenge, and the agenda. The first thing I want to make sure everyone knows about is the Vex Worlds website at vexworlds.com. The site includes everything you need to know to navigate Vex Worlds, including the Vex Worlds agenda, division assignments, and match schedules. Teams should also install the Vex Via app so they can check match results and rankings as they're happening.
Of course, while you're at the Vex Worlds website, check out the agenda for all of the ceremonies that are going to be happening in the Dome. The opening ceremonies always have amazing lights and music, and of course, the Parade of Nations. The closing ceremonies are where we'll play the overall finals, give away the top awards, and unveil next season's game. No one ever wants to miss that.
Also be sure to swing by the pits to check out all of the team's decorations. This year, each team's pit will be 8 foot by 8 foot, and due to fire marshal code, neither floating balloons or fog machines are allowed. Nothing can extend outside of your pit area, and for safety reasons, the pipe and drape cannot be removed. Search pit areas at vexworlds.com for more information. The pit signs are yours to keep after the event, though, and they'll look great in your practice area back home.
Just like last year, the first steps of team check-in will happen online. In the weeks leading up to the in-person event, a check-in button should appear on the coach's dashboard on robotevents.com. You'll start your check-in process there.
Then, once you're in Dallas, your coach should visit the check-in desk in Hall B at the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. on the day before your event starts. That's where they'll get the registration materials for your team. That means VRC High School should do an in-person check-in on April 24th. VRC Middle School, JROTC, and Vex U should check in person on April 27th, and all Vex IQ teams should do in-person check-in on April 30th. All teams must be fully checked in by 11 a.m. on the first day of their event.
You'll be able to bring your robot and other materials in after 8 a.m. on the first day of your competition, when the venue opens, but you won't be able to access your pit when you check in the day before.
So Grant, jumping ahead a bit, let's talk about the day of the overall finals and the closing ceremony. It's a tight schedule. What do these teams need to know?
You're right. It's a very, very tight schedule this year, so we're asking all teams to pack and remove all items from your pit areas before the closing ceremonies begin. If you can't take them back to the hotel or your vehicle, there will be plenty of space in Hall B for equipment storage during the finals, and staff will be monitoring that area. Getting the pits emptied before heading to the Dome will allow other staff members to start getting the pits ready for the next competition.
Due to heightened security measures, each team will be required to wear a bright yellow Vex Worlds wristband at all times to access the pits, divisions, skills, and arena. These will be included in the registration packet you'll get at in-person check-in. Each team will also receive one free parking pass to the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center, Lot E.
Next, let's talk about volunteering at the Vex Robotics World Championship. Event volunteers are the heart and soul of the REC Foundation events, and we literally couldn't run this event without y'all. While you're at the Vex Robotics World Championship, please consider volunteering. Many of the volunteer positions don't actually require technical skills or any experience at all. Volunteering puts you up close and personal with the action going on in your division, and there are tons of roles available. Check out the volunteer section of the Vex Worlds website, or email volunteer@recf.org with any questions.
So where should people go if they're at Worlds and someone gets lost, doesn't know where to go, can't figure out what to do, or has questions about where to find something? Where can they go for help?
Help is always found at Pit Admin. Pit Admin's your one-stop shop to get any answers of any kind. It's also the central location for lost and found items.
Sounds good. Now, what can you tell us about the competition and rules?
All teams should keep in mind two of the most important rules in any robotics competition, G1 and G2. Treat everyone with respect, and remember, this is a student-centered program. Students should be doing the work, and even in the heat of a competitive moment, everyone should remember to be respectful to one another.
So if a team member has a question about a ruling the head referee makes, what should they do?
Per Rule T3, Drive Team members may appeal any ruling while they're still in the Alliance station. But teams must remember that once the head referee has made their final decision, it is final, according to Rule T1.
So can a coach, adult, or a mentor approach a head referee and dispute a ruling?
Nope. Only team members can. Remember, like I said, this is a student-centered program. Students must be the ones advocating for themselves. On a related note, code of conduct issues are a concern every year, but we really want to stress that this year, these issues need to be raised and addressed in your divisions. The game manual makes it clear that students need to be the ones advocating for themselves, and issues should be brought up in the divisions by those students, not the adults. This year, students, we are talking to you. If you have a code of conduct concern, please bring them up to your head referee and division manager directly before leaving your division. Also, remember that it is the students who should be discussing and creating your in-match strategies. If you find that adults are influencing these discussions, again, let your head referee and division manager know. This also goes for the adults as well. If the students themselves are agreeing on a strategy, it is not the role of the adults to interfere or report any perceived violations. Again, student-centered competition in all aspects of the competition.
So, how can teams make sure that scores entered are accurate?
Also a good question. After the match has been scored, scorekeeper referees will show all teams the score. Teams must agree and confirm the score before it can become final. So, there should be no need to ever question whether a score was entered correctly, because it's all been done at the field with all team members actively participating in the whole process.
So, where should teams go for robot inspection this year? And is there anything they need to do beforehand?
So we will be doing the self-inspection process again this year. We encourage all teams to go to the RECF library, download the inspection sheet, complete it ahead of time, and bring it with you to inspection. These can be found in the description below or by searching for inspection process at vexworlds.com. If you don't have access to a printer or forget to bring your inspection sheet, we will have more inspection sheets available for pickup right at teams' divisions. Inspection sheets must be completed and signed by both a coach and a team member before getting in line. One thing that's new this year is that inspections will be taking place in the divisions. So our head referees and our inspectors will check selected items before approving your robot to get on practice fields and compete in your matches. Inspection will be closing at 12 p.m. on the first day of your event, so be sure to finish the in-person check-in the day before to ensure you have enough time.
So, Grant, can teams do anything to make the process of inspection a little bit faster?
Absolutely. Teams should make sure all of their robot components are legal for the competition. Of course, Vex IQ robots can only be built from official, unmodified Vex IQ robot parts. Also, it's worth double-checking that your robot never expands beyond 11 inches by 20 inches horizontally while moving around the playing field and playing the game, especially when picking up or scoring blocks.
So, is there anything new to know about skills?
Actually, there is. So students must have a robot to enter the skills queuing area, and the doors will close at a posted time each day. Should be about 15 to 30 minutes before the scheduled end of skills. So, to participate in skills, students must be in line with their robot inside the doors before the doors close. There are going to be no exceptions.
What else should they know for this year?
Rule T6 says that teams should come to the field ready to play. So, make sure your robots are in good working condition before coming to the field. This also means that all robot transport systems, so carts, wagons, dollies, they must stay in the queuing area and are not allowed next to the field.
How will the competition be structured this year?
The competition will be basically the same as last year, but each team will have one practice match and one qualification match on the first day of competition. There will be 5 elementary school divisions and 5 middle school divisions. Elementary school teams will compete with other elementary school teams, and middle school teams will compete with other middle school teams. Each division will have 10 standard playoff matches, just like a normal event. Then, the champions from each division will make their way to the Vex Dome to play in the overall World Championship Finals for their age group. These finals will be another set of 1 match per alliance to show us what they got. In order to determine the playing order of these alliances, they'll be ranked based on the score that they won their division with. If there are any ties, the first tiebreaker will be the sum of the 2 teams' qualification match scores. We'll end up with elementary school world champions and middle school world champions. If any of this is unclear, it's all contained in that April 2nd game manual update.
Okay, Grant, so we have a list of questions here that were pre-submitted by teams who are ready to push this game to the limit. Are you ready for this?
Of course I am. This is my favorite part of every driver's meeting, so let's get into it.
All right. What happens if I accidentally knock a red block off of its peg while fixing my robot?
Well, this was my favorite part. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not actually going to answer that one because we have already answered it in the official Q&As. I will tell you about something new we did this year in the April 2nd game manual update that should help, though. We went back through all of this season's Q&As and picked out the ones that are most likely to affect gameplay and referee calls at Vex Worlds. The links to these Q&As are now included in the game manual directly. So I still recommend that you read through all Q&As, but if you at least know the ones that are linked in the manual, such as those about accidentally knocking off red blocks, that's way better than nothing.
How will size limits for inspection be calculated with the robots that have elastic rollers on the front to collect blocks?
You've been watching some YouTube videos, haven't you? During robot inspection, each robot size will be checked with blocks in the intake or any other manipulator that they have. Teams will be asked during inspection to revise their robots if their robot becomes too large when interacting with blocks.
What happens if a team has only one driver?
So per Rule G11, if a team has one driver, they can drive for the first 35 seconds, but will have to put their controller down for the remainder of the match. Rule G4, clauses B and C, describe some ways that a team can add a driver to the team if only one of their drivers are able to attend Vex Worlds. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to your team engagement manager as soon as possible, and they'll be able to help you out.
So, what happens if my robot breaks during a match? Can I fix it?
Yep. Rule G10 lets you pick up, fix, and reset your robot during a match if it becomes broken, stuck, or otherwise needs assistance. If you decide to do this, you do have to put your controller on the ground before interacting with the robot. After doing this, any blocks that are being controlled by the robot have to get removed from the field and placed back into the supply zone. Once you've fixed the robot, it has to go back into a legal starting position before you can pick your controller back up. Resetting a robot can take a while, so if there's any way to continue playing without retrieving and resetting, taking all the blocks out and everything, it's usually a better choice. And remember, you're only allowed to interact with the robot if it absolutely needs assistance. Using resets as a strategy is not allowed during teamwork or driver skills matches.
And the moment they put their controller down and start fixing this robot, the timer keeps ticking.
Correct.
Don't want to waste those moments. At our last event, a referee said that our robot was too big while we picked up blocks and gave us a DQ. Is this a rule?
So, yep. Rule SG2 says that a robot cannot expand horizontally beyond the 11-inch by 20-inch starting dimension, and there are no exceptions to this rule. The first time it happens without affecting your score, it'll just be a minor violation, which is a warning. The second time it happens, it will become a major violation and a disqualification for the match. As I mentioned earlier, inspectors at Worlds will be trying to help teams check for this during inspection, but other than inspection, it is still the team's responsibility to know and follow the rules of the game.
How will head referees check the size of robots during a match to make sure they never get too large?
If a head referee believes that a robot might have expanded beyond the SG2 horizontal size limit, they may have the team move their robot through the range of actions that they saw during the match in order to check its size under controlled circumstances. A robot that is found to have exceeded this size limit will, at a minimum, receive a minor SG2 violation. As I said earlier, score affecting or repeated violations will receive a disqualification.
Do we have to start our driver switch between 35 seconds and 25 seconds or finish it?
Both? The rule says that the controller has to be handed off during that 10-second period between 35 seconds and 25 seconds on the match clock. What this really means is that that's the only part of the match in which both drivers are allowed to be touching the controller, including simultaneously. So, both.
Who should we tell if our alliance partner tells us to stay out of their way and not touch blocks during a match?
So, if you're playing with a team who has asked you to do anything that you really don't want to do, this could include sitting in a corner or adding something onto your robot that isn't yours, you should tell your head referee or division manager before leaving the division. I really hope that all teams can find ways to include both robots in their match strategies, and hopefully this won't even be an issue.
Because the matches are streamed, will referees be allowed to look at official footage to help with rule calls?
No. Referees are never allowed to review photos or videos of matches when determining scores or rulings. This includes Vex Worlds.
If the buzzer rings and a block is dropped out of the field when it's ringing, would it be considered in the supply zone?
So this one is answered by Rule SC1 combined with SG3 Part D. Because scoring statuses aren't evaluated until everything comes to rest, the block that is dropped out of the field during the buzzer time is still considered in the supply zone for scoring.
Last year, the skills lines at Worlds were long. Can we leave a teammate or a coach to hold our place in line while we play a match?
Nope. If your robot leaves the skills line, then you are giving up your spot in the line.
If our team wins our division and makes it to Vex Dome finals, do we have to walk back and forth to our pit on the other side of the building?
Also, no. Division champions will be escorted by their division managers directly to the dome, and once you reach the dome, we'll have a set of finals pits that are separated per division. This area should be pretty much the same as the pits you had in the convention hall. So it'll have a table, chairs, a power drop for your chargers, etc.
Well, Grant, that's about all the time we have for questions.
All right, as always, this has been a lot of fun. I hope it was just as informative for all the teams as it was for us. Tyler, this game has been getting pretty wild, so just wait till you see it in person at Vex Worlds.
I am so excited to see this game in the Dome. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to say hi to Grant and I when you see us at the 2024 Vex Robotics World Championship. See you there.